Welcome to today's episode of PC24. Today we have some interesting information. I was looking up at the household debt on G7 companies and G7 countries and many other countries around us. So I got startling revelation. So if you haven't heard that, I think this will be the news for you. So if I give you a teaser while I am at it, so tell me which country has the lowest household debt. If you could tell me, that would be fabulous and I will really be very impressed. So which country has the lowest household debt? Once you tell me, then I will give you the right answer. This is phenomenal. Nobody heard that this country, like for me, it came as a surprise. But anyways, maybe many of you already know this information. So let me know which country has the lowest household debt. And in Canada, we are at 187% household debt. And then there is one country that has the highest household debt. Which country is that? It's not a question up here, but I would really appreciate if you can tell me which country has the highest. I'm putting the question back up. The lowest. I guess I already gave you the answer for that, but I'm going to stop it. So, which country has the lowest household debt? For those who have not seen this clip, well, this will be a very amazing information. So my name is Paul Chima and I'm your host. We will be broadcasting till 7:30 p.m. This broadcast is live on 5 social medias. YouTube, there are 2 channels on YouTube itself. Facebook, there are 2 places it's being telecasted, so 2 and 2, 4. And then there is Twitter, 5. Then there is a LinkedIn, 6. Then there is a TikTok, 7. We are live on all these platforms, and if you want to interact with us, you can interact with us from any platform that you can find around. So if you check up, you will see that we are there. We are live and things are running very smoothly. There are some people watching our live right now, and I'm so thankful to them. So let me know which country has the lowest household debt. That would be fabulous to know. So appraisals, whenever you buy a house and you have to get a mortgage, the lender wants you to get appraisal done. Who owns the appraisal report? We'll talk a bit about that. But before we move forward in our program, I would like to congratulate each and every one of my viewers who have birthday today, who have their anniversary today, who have purchased their home and they have closed it. And if you are celebrating the birth of a new one in your family, well, congratulations to you all. And also, if you have taken life insurance protecting your income from any unforeseen circumstances, I guess you are the wisest one. Anyways, so whenever we need money on the house, you need mortgage. Whether you refinance, whether you take a second mortgage, whether you buy your first home, appraisal is a integral component of home purchase. And the cost to run an appraisal, it used to be very less 2-3 years ago, but now it has increased many folds. You are talking about cost range from $450 all the way to thousands of dollars. Depends on the type of property and how quick you want the report. There are some rush orders that are always expensive. And who pays for it? And I guess you already know that. The home buyers or the homeowners who are refinancing their home, they pay for the appraisal report. But do you get a copy of it? You don't. Why? Because even though you pay for the appraisal report, you are not the appraiser's client. How strange it sounds. Most of the time, when you pay from your own pocket, you are termed as the master, and the other person who receives money in return for some service is considered as your employee or anyone you hired to do the job. So, this is how the situation runs, master versus server. Now, but in this case, even though you are the master, appraisal company is not your server. They serve the lending institution. The Canadian Mortgage Trends had produced a nice report on that, and I would like to go through this. In the meanwhile, let me know which country has the lowest, yes, the lowest household debt. And let me tell you, Canada has 187%, more or less. So, the professional appraisers sent to calculate the value of a home, which can cost anywhere from a few hundred to several $1,000, doesn't actually work for the prospective homeowner. Yeah, that's true. So the golden rule to determine who pays for it is who gets benefited. So you are the one who get benefited. So that's why you pay for the cost. It's called golden rule of mortgage lending. I'm getting a spam machine call. Sorry for that distraction. So, in other words, whichever party is responsible for commissioning the 6 or 7-figure loan to fund a mortgage gets to call the shots. That includes who pays for the appraisal. Basically, your lender is giving you money, right? And you are looking for money. Now, in order to get the money, there is a condition that you need to get appraisal done, and you pay for it. But some lenders in good old times would cover the appraisal cost. Some banks still do that. If you have a good criteria, good rating, like your creditworthiness is great, banks sometimes support your cost. But not all the banks do that. You are asked to pay for it. So on the day of appraisal, you get a phone call to pay for it upfront. Even some appraisal companies have the links. So once you order an appraisal report, you get an email saying pay here, and you pay for it. Then they assign a random appraiser to evaluate the home value for the prospective home you're planning to buy, or your current home you're planning to refinance. Then they determine the value of your property, and the report is never given to you. The report goes to the mortgage brokerages or the lending institutions. Or lending institution want that report submitted to them by the appraisal companies directly. So that means you do not own the appraisal report. The lenders own the appraisal report. This is a funny situation, and you pay for it. So have you ever thought about saying that I don't want to pay for the report? Right? Guess what happens? Try it sometimes, and you will see what lending institution responds to you. A homeowner, even though they are paying for it, is not the appraiser's client. This is CEO at the Appraisal Institute of Canada. The appraiser has an obligation, first and foremost, to their clients not to provide copies of the report to anyone other than the client who has contracted with the appraiser to prepare it. And in this case, it is the lender. In fact, according to the Appraisal Institute of Canada's website, the question of who gets a copy of the appraisal report is a business decision by the lender or mortgage broker retained by the homeowner. It goes on to say that AIC, Appraisal Institute of Canada, member would not be aware of whether the homeowner paid for the report or whether the homeowner would even get a copy of the report regardless of the loan application's outcome. This is weird because I see the payment being paid through the online portals all the time. So when we create a request for an appraisal, it asks who pays for it. Then we say client, and then they ask for the information, and we put in the email and other information which goes out to the clients, the prospective borrowers, and then once they complete the purchase, they are assigned an appraiser in a random order. There's no fixed appraiser you can just call, hey, can you just appraise my property? It doesn't work like that. So now, conversely, the Canadian National Association of Real Estate Appraisers guidelines state that the person paying for appraiser, be they a home buyer or a lender, should get a copy of the report. This is as per the National Association of Real Estate Appraisers guidelines. So there are two contradictory situations here. And trust me, I didn't know this. I'm just reading it because we have been doing what the system asks us to do. Who pays for it? And definitely we don't pay for it because we are not aware of what's going to happen. And who gets benefited? You. And the lender has a condition that you have to pay for it unless they decide to compensate you for it. Sometimes they do. It depends what you ask. So then the CEO that I was referring to, CEO of AIC, Appraisal Institute of Canada, says the reason for having strict guidelines over who gets an appraisal report is to ensure lender gets the information they need out of it. A AAA bank, for example, might have different lending criteria compared to a private lender. So an appraisal prepared for one may not be terribly suitable for another. So yeah, this is true. So let's say you run an appraisal and the bank refuses you the funding. Now you go to another lender and another lender is going to ask you to run the appraisal report. Are you going to pay twice? You may have to. So try calling the mortgage broker, or if you have the contact information of the appraiser who came in, sometime they will share their information with you. Call them and then they will do a separate report and they will put the new recipient on that, but they will charge you for something for it. Let's say initial appraisal report costs you $800. Next time you request them, they may charge anything between $200-300 to send a copy to the second lender. They may have to tweak it a bit, depends how much time has lapsed in between. If it has lapsed more time, they may ask to do the report, because then you may have done some damage to the property. The property may not be as good as it was when they first appraised it. So there are many variables to consider. And from an appraiser's point of view, you do not want to have an appraisal report floating out there for everybody to rely on. Every lender has a panel of appraisal companies they work with. It is quite possible that you may have to fight or argue or convince a lender to accept report of another credible appraisal company. Sometimes you have to do it through your mortgage broker. And let me tell you this, many mortgage brokers will do this as a courtesy to you without even you telling them, hey, can you ask the appraisal company if they can send the report over to lender B now, right? And really, this is something you don't want to, floating around. And this makes all the sense, because now your house value is scattered everywhere. You don't want that. So I think confidentiality demands that it be shared as less as possible. Email is susceptible to being seen through many individuals on the way to its delivery. And this is not like you send an email from point A to point B, even though it goes at the lightning speed, but still there are ways it can be read and rude to you. So, regardless of which professional association an appraiser belongs to, they can still choose to release the result of an appraisal report with their client's permission. But that doesn't happen very often. The clients may be able to get their hands on an appraisal report in its early stages. Some mortgage representatives who are sent draft copies and make them available to borrowers. Sometimes the mortgage brokers will share the report with them. So this is amazing, isn't it? You pay for it. This is your hard-earned money, but you don't get to receive a copy of the report. That is strange, kind of crazy. The practice of having a homeowner pay for an appraisal, he adds, is also one that's just become a standard of the mortgage industry. That appraisal fee is one of a number of features that a borrower makes. So this is a statement from one Lancaster. Who is Lancaster? I probably missed his name somewhere, but we would find it for you. Lancaster? Who is Lancaster? Let's find out. I don't seem to see his name everywhere, but that's okay. It's someone who, So Lancaster is interim CEO of AIC, and this is what he said, that this is kind of a standard for the mortgage industry. That appraisal fee is one of a number of features that a borrower makes, number of decisions, I would say, makes. That's the business model that the lending community has established in the marketplace. And lenders are usually reluctant to release reports to keep a competitive edge. So this is how the appraisal industry works. You pay for it, but you don't get a copy of the report. So, well, I don't know how you feel about it. What are your thoughts about it? Just let me know. Do you want a copy? Why do you want a copy? You don't need it for anything other than just knowing, hey, my value or my house value is this much. That's the only purpose it accomplishes for you. Nothing less, nothing more. And we spoke about the recession, and this was Desjardins' report a few months before. If I could get you some insight into it again, just to refresh you. So this report indicated, which was published on October 31st, 2023, actually last month, Canadian recession imminent and could last through the first half of 2024. This was Desjardins' report, which clearly indicated that despite Canada's economy outperforming expectation over the last few quarters, signs are starting to suggest a slowdown is on the horizon. And this was a report from Desjardins. Everything from international trade and housing to real GDP and core CPI inflation have started to trend lower, suggesting that the rate hikes by Bank of Canada are having their intended impact. As such, Desjardins is calling for the economy to enter into a recession before the end of the year and continue through the first half of 2024. Right? So this is getting stranger because we are seeing many people reeling under financial hardships, difficult to manage their ends meet. There are labor unions who are trying to get higher wages for their members, and employers are unable to meet those demands because of the lack of demand of their products now. The economy, the rate increases has definitely curtailed the demand of many products in the market. Housing is one big item on the list. Housing has so many repercussions when it goes in a bad state. There are so many ancillary trades associated. Home inspection is one, funding is second, renovation is another one, upgrades are another ones, right? There are so many trades that go, and the utility bills and the property taxes that the ministry gets, zoning changes or whatever, school portion of the property taxes. Basically, so many ancillary, companies or service providers get affected if the housing market goes upside down. They also go upside down. So this indicates that when the demand goes down, how can you handle that? So employer cannot pay higher wages. This is their dilemma. But this is what it is. And people are unable to afford their families because of the increased cost of living. When the living cost goes, where do you go for money? Right? So you basically tell your employer, hey, listen, I need more money because I have more cost now. Gas is expensive. Energy is expensive. We spoke about many provinces where energy has, very high cost. So now, falling goods consumption, residential investments, and exports are likely to be the primary drivers of weakness. The unemployment rate should track higher. It will go higher, they say, pushing wage and income growth lower as a consequence. The Bank of Canada is expected to respond by cutting interest rates. So yesterday, I mentioned that in order to understand when the Bank of Canada would start cutting interest rate, the rule of thumb, I don't know how accurate that is, or how much can we depend on it, but the rule of thumb is from the last rate hike, right? So when the Bank of Canada finally tells that this is the last announcement, we are not raising rates from now onwards. They say 10 months after that, more or less, is when you can expect rate cuts. Otherwise, we cannot say anything. This is the reason many economists are hell bent on finding if the last stoppage of rate increase was the final one, that the bank is not going to change anything after this. But looking at the inflation, which went up to 4% over the last year versus 3.3 in July, so they think bank has 50-50 chances. So let us see what comes up on 25th October. This is when we will get a fairly good idea if the rate go higher or they stay same, or if that is the last rate increase or decrease or stability. Let's find out. Once we know that, the economists say just estimate that 10 months will be the maximum length when the rate will start cutting. Let's say the Bank of Canada tells us the 25th October, we are not increasing the rates anymore. Then from 25th from October, basically November, December, January, 3 months, February, March, April, 3 months, May, June, July, 3 months. So next August, we can expect the rates will stabilize. Let's start cutting the rate. That means the market may start breathing again in the later half of 2024. But let's see, unless the bank formally establishes that this is our last hike we are done with it. We are not going to do anything after this. Only then we'll see what means when we talk about the rate cuts. Till then, we can just make a fair guess. The fair guess is it could be any time next month, next year, right? Because right now things are not changing as such. This is for sure. So we're going to take a quick short break and we'll come back after this. So stay with me as I take you to the information about the household debt by other countries compared to Canada, where other countries are. And I will be back here. Thank you very much for being with us, watching this show at your convenience whenever you can. Do not hesitate to leave your comments or want to say anything. If you want to join our broadcast, you are more than welcome to come over into our broadcast. It is a remote system we have, so wherever you are, we can send you a link to be a part of the broadcast, but we cannot accept any joining request on TikTok. These two are totally different platforms. So stay with us. We'll come back after a short break. Are you thinking of selling your home? You are covered. From my experience of 14 plus years in the real estate industry, this is what I have come to know. There are three major concerns that any home seller would want their realtor to answer. Number one, how much is their home worth? Number two, how long will it take to sell their house? And number three, what will the agent do to make it sell? I have answers to all these questions. To schedule your one-on-one appointment, call me at 647-424-0358. Once again, Paul Chima, broker with Remax Prime Properties. My phone number to call is 647-424-0358. Call me now and get moving.
From a vast experience in immigration industry, this is what I've figured out. Clients want to know if their application is submitted in a timely fashion, what a representative can do to serve best interest of their client. Clients are informed on a regular basis about the progress of their application. We deliver what we promise. My phone number is 647-465-8894 or reach me out at 639-998-1992.
Are you thinking of a career change or adding another one to your portfolio? Well, you are thinking right. Call Sarabjit Luddar at 416-879-3039 from Beyond Care Insurance Solutions. She also deals in life, long-term, travel, critical illness, disability insurance. Give her a call today at 416-879-3039. This is what we can tell you. She will always give you the right advice and help you find out if being an insurance advisor is your piece of cake. Are you looking for a reliable legal office that can handle your closing in the most effective manner? If yes, please get in touch with Rakesh Joshi at 416-213-8600. Joshi Law Office provides all the legal advices about real estate law, business law, immigration laws, notarization and affidavits, wills and trust. Give them a call today, 416-213-8600. ਅਵੰਚਿਆ ਬੜਾ ਖੁਸ਼ ਤੁਰਿਆ ਹੋਣਾ ਕਿ ਲਾਟਰੀ ਲੂਟਰੀ ਲੱਗ ਗਈ ਤੇਰੀ। ਕਾਸ਼ ਇਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਲਾਟਰੀ ਲੱਗਦੀ। ਵੈਸੇ ਗੱਲ ਤੇ ਲਾਟਰੀ ਵਰਗੀ ਹੈ। ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਦਾ ਬੀਮਾ ਕਰਵਾ ਕੇ ਆਇਆ ਤੇ ਜੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਤੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਮੇਰੇ ਮਗਰੋਂ ਕੋਈ $1 ਮਿਲੀਅਨ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਊਗਾ। ਉਹ ਅੱਛਾ, ਇਹ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ? ਉਹ ਜੇ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਕਮਲਜੀਤ ਬੋਲਾ ਨੂੰ ਸੰਪਰਕ ਕਰ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਫੋਨ ਨੰਬਰ 647 772 1481। ਹੁਣੇ ਹੀ ਕਰ ਲੈ ਫੋਨ, ਬੈਠੇ ਨੇ, ਨਹੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਛੱਡ ਦੇਈਂ। ਉਹ ਬੱਲੇ ਓ ਤੇਰੇ। PC24 ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ 5 ਚੈਨਲਾਂ ਤੇ ਬੜੇ ਸ਼ੌਕ ਨਾਲ ਦੇਖੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ। ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਪ੍ਰਮੋਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ 647 333 2273 ਤੇ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ। ਕੁਝ ਸਮੇਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇਹ ਸੇਵਾਵਾਂ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਮੁਫਤ ਦਿੱਤੀਆਂ ਜਾ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਨੇ। 647 333 2273। So I have asked you a question about which country has the lowest per capita GDP. Sorry, not GDP. Which country has the least household debt? So the answer to that is, I think this is the ticker that is you're looking at. I have the answer right within. So this was the question, which country has the lowest household debt? And then the answer was Mexico. Mexico has the lowest household debt of 26% of the disposable income. Why? I don't know. Why do you think this is so? Do you have any answer to that? So I tried to look up on online, and I see that the household debt to GDP on the latest trading economics, it says it is 16.7% of GDP as of March 2023. But the data that I am sharing with you is from the end of 2022. And this is as per the national accounts at a glance. So this is the data from there. So Mexico is the country with the lowest debt, household debt. So that means people have money there. And highest household debt is with Norway, which is at 247% of the disposable income. Isn't that so strange? 247%. And let me share the data of other countries with you as we are here together. So the other countries that I want to share with you, their household data is, give me one brief second, and I will give you the information. Alrighty. So this is the data that I'm showing you has been derived from an organization called OECD, and this data is presented here. So you can have a look at the data. If you want to ask me any question, I would be happy to answer that. So this is the data up here. Come on, man. Where are you? Yes, I found it here. So this is the data that you are looking on the computer. So if you look at this chart, the first line up there is Mexico, right? This is Mexico, and as we go through it, you will see we end at the last grayish line, which is Norway. And this is as of 2021. This data has not been updated. But this was, the report was updated somewhere in 2023, but the data belongs to the older time. For Mexico, this is as per 2021 and percentage of net disposable income. And the third country from the lowest side was the Russia. But Russia's data is very dated, 4-year-old data, so I wouldn't even depend on that. I will come down to Canada. Canada is 187% of the disposable income. It is so high, and we know how we are trying to make our ends meet. We all have been through some really pretty hard time, and this is where it comes down to, right? And the country that comes next is I will tell you what's the next neighbor of Canada is Luxembourg. 193 was their household debt compared with the disposable income, like percentage of disposable income. They had 193%, and the country just before, I don't know why I keep saying company, the country just before it in 2021 was Finland, 155, and United States household debt is 102. They're slightly over their household income, slightly over, right? When you go to the household disposable income, actually where things are lying, you will be astonished to see that Canada has a negative growth in the first quarter of 2023. Our GDP is minus 2.2 per capita percentage change from the previous similar period. This is as per the data available on the OECD, Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. This is what it basically means, more or less. This data has been derived from that place. And Czech Republic is minus 5.3 quarter first of 2023. The lowest decline is in Japan, which is 0.4 negative from the previous similar period. Percentage declined from the last year, same period. But the countries that went up are OECD total, all the countries under OECD portal, they are 0.9% above the last year's GDP, the household disposable income. And then it goes all the way, and Mexico has the highest household disposable income. The growth was 5% over the last period, same time, right? So Canada's household income, disposable income, went down by 2.2%. Not GDP, but the household income went down by 2.2%. And before this, Czech Republic's household disposable income went down by 5.3%. But OECD total, as a composite of all the countries that they monitor the data for, it went up 0.9%. So Mexico has the highest household disposable income. If you try to find out what makes that happen, and you will see that there are many growths, like they were really doing great in car manufacturing. So some related information on Mexico is peso hovers around 17.1 US dollar. Mexican economic activity continues to grow. Retail sales rise more than expected. Industrial output growth is above the forecast. Auto exports hit 3.5-year high. Car production rises for 16th month, and inflation rate softens for the 7th month. Consumer confidence rises to 4-year high, and gross fixed investment they soar to 2-year high Mexico factory activity is in August. So this is phenomenal growth. So and inflation, talking about inflation rate in Mexico, it has come down from 8.7 somewhere like the 10-year down in October 22 it was 8.41 and it has come down to 4.64 in August. So in September it was 8.7. September 2022 in Mexico inflation was at 8.7. We had 8.1 somewhere in July last year, right? And now 4.64 in August, which is doing phenomenal, progress, softening much faster, and their car sales, exports, phenomenal. So this is what drives their economy, and this is what makes them a very prosperous country. What do you think about that? Do you wish Canada to have similar, stability where we have lowest consumer confidence these days? I speak to people out there and they tell me, oh my God, they are unable to afford anything. House is the biggest purchase and it is very, difficult to qualify. So the qualifying criteria, do you think they should stay there? Maybe unless or until the inflation comes down to 2%, this is not going to be fixed, right? So the problem is the high rates of mortgage lending itself add a lot to the inflation. If you remove the high cost, I guess inflation may be at 3 or less than 3%. We're closer to 2%. Don't you think we should get a breathing space at this point? We should be given some respite that, okay, guys, you take a break and we are fine with it. That's what most of the people actually are looking for. So as I am speaking with you, I'm also working on other aspects of my broadcast. It takes a lot to give the right information and the data is all alive. We can see that data up here. Now I just told you some amazing information about inflation worldwide. I shared this graph with you, which you have probably seen this, but this is what it is. And this green line is Canada at 187%. And right below it is Finland at 151 in 2021, right? And I forgot which one was the next to Canada. So this is some information you should understand, and because where would you like to go? Maybe Mexico, no? How they have outperformed than many other countries is something I guess our economy should also learn and apply. Sorry, we need to make changes there so we can replicate similar confidence Mexican economy is infusing among its citizens. Phenomenal, the best thing. So we'll talk a bit about some numbers from the data from ITSO. ITSO is a platform that gives us about 19 boards and association, more or less, and it gives us a composite index. Like Toronto Regional Register Board data is very limited to a few municipalities, but this goes far and wide, and this covers many areas for the reporting, and that can make it way better. Look easy for you to find any house in all those 19 associations and boards. So when I list a property, it actually goes out to all these boards and associations other than Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. I am a member of two boards, Mississauga as well as Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. So composite a median price under ITSO is at $680,000. This takes all kind of houses, every kind of houses. It has $680,000 price, and if we change it to a single family, detached homes, then of all different types of details, like whether they are 1500 square feet or less, or they are more than 2500 square feet, or they have one bedroom to whatever bedrooms, and there are no square footage criteria, the average price or the median price comes down to $730,000. Median price, in my opinion, is way more reliable than the average price. So average price may be different. Average price for the same criteria is at $830,000, more or less. I just rounded it. But the median price is at $730,000. The reason being that median price represents more and more buyers buying in that particular range. So you know where people are buying. In ITSO, this is where they're buying of all kind of single family detached home. So let's narrow down the criteria a bit. Let's change it to single family, 2000 square feet, three bedrooms, and the square footage be square footage is 2000 to 2500 square feet, so three bathrooms, and now the median price comes down to $852,000. That means in ITSO, if you are buying a property which is a detached, three bedroom, three bathroom, between 2000 to 2500 square feet, you are probably going to pay somewhat $850 to $860,000, or let's say $840 to $860,000, depends, because there will be all kind of houses there. So this is the price range. But some people asked me about the Kitchener market. Let me add the Kitchener market for you, and then I would be able to better give you the response. So for Kitchener and Waterloo Association of Realtors, for single family houses, which are between 2000 to 2500 square feet, three bedrooms, three bathrooms. That's it. We are not considering whether the houses are a waterfront or not. We are not going there. Three bedroom, three bathrooms. In Kitchener Waterloo, the average price, the median price, I'm sorry, is $882,000. So it's not so much deviation from what ITSO actually offers. So ITSO was $845,000 for similar homes, but we have $882,000, around $37,000 price difference, more or less, right? So this is the median price. If we go down to the average price, you will see it changes. $892,000, 387 is the average price under the entire ITSO areas. All those A19 or 18, whatever the number of boards and association. But in Kitchener Waterloo, it is $919,000, more or less, up and down slightly. So this is the median price. Now I would like to change the Kitchener houses from 2500 or more, four bedrooms, four bathrooms or more. So for these kinds of houses, and I will do the same thing for the entire ITSO, four bedroom, four bathroom, more than 2500 square feet. So now under ITSO, the average price of houses that are single family, detached, four bedrooms, four bathrooms, no criteria about waterfront properties, the average price under ITSO is $1.6 million. And under Kitchener Waterloo, it is 1.229 or $1.230 million. This is where we are at this point. So, and this has actually, in ITSO, it shows an increase from 1.578 to 1.60 overall. But in Kitchener Waterloo, it has shown a decline from July. In July, the price of 4 bedroom, 4 bathroom, single family detached homes in Kitchener, Waterloo Association areas, it was reported close to $1.4 million, but it came down to $1.23 million. And this is the average price. Let me tell you where the median lies. For median has really come down to $1.137 million in Kitchener. 4 bedrooms, 4 bathroom, detached homes, more than 2,500 square feet, and it has actually dropped from $1.3 million to $1.13 million from July to August. This is a pretty big drop. If you do the calculation, this is a pretty big drop, right? But in ETSO, it has also shown a drop, but drop is not that severe because in Kitchener, the slope is very sharp. But in case of entire ETSO, it is slightly inclined. It is declining, going down. So from 1.347 million to $1.338 million. So a couple $1,000. It's $90,000 price change, I guess. I didn't do the math. 1.347 to 1.338. No, it's hardly $8,000. $8 or $9,000. Sorry, not 98,000. $8 or $9,000. This is the price difference of entire ETSO region. So this is amazing. It's 4 bedroom, 4 bathroom. Let's add the square footage from 2,000 to 2,500 square feet for 4 bedroom, 4 bathroom. And let's see where we are. In ETSO, there was a jump from 1,050,000 to 1,075,000. But in case of Kitchener Waterloo, it was a decline from 1,007,000 to $921,000. Isn't that strange? Kitchener Waterloo is a growing area, and I see many people buying houses there. So more and more demand is coming up. People are actually buying there. So house of 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms in Kitchener, you can just afford to buy around $1 million. But the same house here in GTA, in Brampton or Mississauga, it might be selling between $1.2 million, or lower price could be $1.15 million. It's detached home anyways, right? And then there are so many neighborhoods that you have to look at. So I would like to reiterate my free offer for the residents of Fletcher's Creek, Fletcher's Meadow, and Northwest Brampton. If you are a resident of these two neighborhoods in Brampton, that means you are looking at those people that are living west of McLaughlin, north of Bovade, all the way to Credit View, and up north to Walnut. So those areas, basically, if you are living there, you can take advantage of our free roof shingles inspection before the weather changes. Now you can fix it, but later when the winter strikes, you will not get a chance to fix it. And the second thing, one of my auto friends suggested, be ready to purchase your snow tires, because snow tires help you a lot. They give you traction on snowy roads, and the way their treads are, they deflect the slush outside, and they have a better grip. So all seasons tires, well, they are good to have, I'm told, but they are not as great as snow tires. It's all about how hard the tires go in winter. You know, everything hardens in winter. So you put butter in fridge, what happens? It hardens. Keep it outside, it just becomes softer. The same is true with tire. The tire rubber is different ratings for different seasons. So the beauty of winter tire is that the rubber stays softer and it has more contact with the surface. That stops your vehicle and may help you prevent an accident. Maybe you will come home and the friend or the other road user will go home safe. It's time for us to say goodbye. I may not be able to run the broadcast for the next few days because of some medical operation I'm going to go through. That's okay. It's a minor eye operation. So we might have to, stop the broadcast for, I will consult the doctor how long I have to refrain from the glare of the screen. So I will let you know accordingly via message or some simple post. But stay tuned for our next announcement. I love sharing information, and I hope this information that I share makes you better than other people who don't have that information, and that you make a better decision in buying, selling your homes. Thank you very much. But before I leave, I would like to offer my deepest condolences to those families that have lost a beloved person this day. May God grant peace to the departed soul and give you strength to get over this loss and resume your life. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.